What is up, my friends? Welcome to another edition of the XFL Week in Review. I am your host, Mark Perry from XFL News Hub. Now, on this week's show, XFL teams finalized. We have rosters, 52-man rosters. We'll talk about that. We got Shawn Oakman returns, a story that was broken by our own Connor Falk on XFL News Hub, as well as we get to hear from Bob Stoops and so much more. So, how do you get in touch with the show? It's simple. You email podcast at XFL News Hub with your MP3, or you call 888-430-7692, extension number. Whoa. Stand by. Extension number 3. Remember, cutoff time is 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. Remember to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and we'll read it on the show. With the question of the week, which two teams will be in the championship game in April? Of course, also, I just want to point out that I'll be on Dallas Radio, 1160 AM, KBDT Sports Day with John Clemens, Saturdays and Sundays. You can hear that as well. We're live every Tuesday, like right now, at 8 p.m. Eastern on the YouTubes for the podcast. Now, speaking of leaving us a review, that's right, my friends, because we have this football right here for you to take a look at. This is the final week to get your very own XFL football. This is our contest. You either leave us a review on iTunes or you subscribe on our YouTube channel. You have those two options to be entered in winning an XFL football of your choice, a $125 value. Winners will be announced on February 4th episode of XFL Week in Review. Now, what does that mean? February 4th. Well, that's not 2 months from now. That's not 6 months from now. No, my friends, that is next week. That's right. Next week, we are giving away the football. So this is your last chance to win an XFL football of your choice, $125 value. We'll be naming that winner next week. So get it in. We'll do it right at the beginning of the show. I'm not going to have you wait until the end, but we will have that next week, the winner of this cool XFL football. I'm so excited to do that. Also, we have another huge announcement coming next week. If you are in the area and are going to the DC Defenders game, that's right, the first ever return of the XFL 2.0, I guess you should say. DC Defenders, Seattle Dragons. If you're going to that game, you're going to want to tune in, especially on the show next week, as well as all over our social media platform. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It will be all over there because myself and Connor Falk from XFL News Hub will be doing a live pre-game show somewhere in DC, and we're going to announce where that is. It's already locked. We already know where it is. It's locked. But this is called a teaser. So next week, not only do you have to watch the show, because it's the first week, that's the pre-week before the XFL season starts. We're giving away this football, not this exact football, because this is mine, and you can't have it. But you can get your very own football that we're going to give and send to you. Not only that, so you got the XFL kicking off that week. You have the contest winner announcement. You have the announcement, especially if you're in the D.C., Maryland area, Virginia, Pittsburgh, Philly, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. If you guys are deciding to come down to see the DC Defenders game, the first XFL game of this Reboot 2.0, well, we have a place for you to hang out with us and be part of the show. So that's right. Myself and Connor Falk from XFL News Hub will be doing a live broadcast, and we will announce where that place is on next week's show. Super excited about that. We'll have a live pregame show. We'll interact with the fans at the establishment, as well as just have some fun. Talk about the XFL, and it'll be live streamed on YouTube. I guess we should probably even throw it on to our friends on the podcast feed. We'll do that too. Our friends on the podcast feed could get that. So that is all happening next week, as well as all the breaking news that's happening in the world of XFL. So on this show, we got the news. We're also want to talk about the DC Defenders event that I was at last over this weekend. We have a full video of it on XFL News on our YouTube channel, so you can check that out. It's pretty cool. We got audio, we got pictures, all sorts of video. That's a good thing. We have that event. We have coverage of the LA event, the block party that they has, as well as a little question and answer with Bob Stoops, plus your social media stuff and so much more. So, my friends, without further ado, folks, let's just get into the week that was the XFL. All right, finally, the XFL released their rosters. That's right, 52-man roster is released to the world. This happened at noon Eastern on Monday. The final rosters to each of the 8 XFL teams are announced. It includes names who were let go and brought back, like Sean Oakman. We'll get into that, as well as lots of other player movement after the completion of the training camp in Houston, Texas. Now, I'm all told, we have 416 XFL players to make a roster. Head over. Now, I'm not going to go through every single player because I'll have no voice at the end of the show, and that would just be too much. You can head over to xflnewshub.com. Unlike the XFL site, which is good, don't get me wrong, and I love my brothers and sisters over at the XFL. We have broken down by team, but we have a full list of all XFL players that is searchable. So, for example, especially if you're watching on the YouTube, you type in QB. It's going to give you every single quarterback, showing 22 quarterbacks in the XFL. From Eric Dungy, Matt McGloin, Luis Perez, Josh Johnson, BJ Daniels, Jordan Ta'amu, Chase Litton, who is now on Tampa Bay, Aaron Murray, and so much more. You want to go, for example, my brother went to Virginia Tech. You can just type in Virginia Tech, and you can get the 3 players, Cam Phillips, Colton Taylor, Ricky Walker, all Hokies. Any team that you want to, type it in as well. So you can go by the college, the position. You want to see who the punters are in the XFL, you just type P. Well, actually, but then it will also give you all if the name has a P in it. But if you want all the tight ends, just type in TE, for example, and you get them as well. And it's got broken down by team, everything. So you got all the guys in the XFL right at your fingertips if you have any questions. If you went to Podunkie State University and you want to see you have a player in the XFL to root for, head over to our website and check it out. 416 players are gearing up for kickoff in basically 2 weeks. So our own Connor Falk broke this story. This was a big time on Friday, the 24th. He reported that Sean Oakman would be on the Wildcats 52-man roster on Monday. And guess what? It was absolutely true. Sean Oakman, who got let go by the LA Wildcats early on in training camp, has now returned to the Wildcats, which there was rumors out there that he would come back after a little cooling off period, like he was just coming back. So I don't know. We don't know what happened there. And that cut was a surprising move because Sean Oakman is one of the bigger names in the XFL. It seemed the cut was due to locker room issues, as Coach Moss told This Is the XFL show, quote, "The Wildcats are all about supporting each other and winning a championship. We made a collective and joint decision. It was best to move on." So it seems like the Wildcats and Moss are giving Oakman a second chance to prove himself. Now, Oakman was an absolute beast. He's a big, huge dude from Baylor. He was a projected first-round pick in the 2016 NFL draft, but he got accused of sexual assault. All sorts of things started happening, and then he was later found innocent. But then no NFL team really were interested in him. He wasn't part of any NFL camps. He did some arena football stuff and maybe some other things playing football, but now he's got a second chance with the LA Wildcats. We'll see. As this is one of the names for me, your Landry Jones, your Cardell Jones, some of the running backs that are out there, Kristen Michael, I'm interested in seeing. But Sean Oakman is definitely one of the guys that I will be very interested in seeing play in the XFL, and he's back. Well, one quarterback controversy has ended. Brandon Silvers was named the starting quarterback for the Seattle Dragons after they finalized a 52-man roster. We learned that QB Brandon Silvers has been named the starter over former Seattle Seahawks backup B.J. Daniels. According to the Seattle Times, head coach Jim Zorn named Silvers as a starter after a competitive training camp and preseason. Now, for fans in Seattle, Silvers is relatively an unknown name with no connection to the area. B.J. Daniels, now the backup, played for the Seahawks between 2013 and 2015. He has more raw, explosive talent. The Dragons and Zorn have decided to go with Silvers, who has appeared more consistent in camp. Quote, he's probably been more effective throwing the ball, Zorn said of Silvers, who was assigned to the team before the draft. He doesn't move as well as BJ, but his concern is to do what he does well. BJ is coming on, and we have high expectations for him, but we can only play one at a time. It's from Seattle Times. Silver, 25, spent some time with the Saints, Jets, and started 2 games with the AAF Memphis Express with 799 yards, 4 TDs, 2 interceptions. In his 4 years at Troy, he compiled 10,000 yards, 64% completion percentage, finished a career with a 135.8 passer rating. Now, one thing to keep in mind when it comes to all the quarterbacks in the XFL is, a good showing by a Brandon Silver gets called, does well in the XFL and gets called and signs a contract. That leaves a guy like B.J. Daniels. Like, this isn't over yet for these quarterbacks, even though somebody is named the starter for now, because we don't know what happens during the midseason, and we won't know what happens next year either. Still no word on Team 9 and who's part of Team 9. However, we do know who the coach of Team 9 is. So the XFL is reinventing the way in which teams sign free agents during the season. Typically, a football team will work out players off the street, then decide whether or not to bring them under contract. And that is fine in most cases, but the XFL wants to have an established pool of players who are continually training together. The 25-second clock and other features of the XFL game require higher standards of conditioning to operate in that faster pace. And we already heard of players pointing that out, of how intense it is. Some guys that even came from the NFL or CFL. So 35 to 40 players spanning all positions on the field will train with Team 9 and stand ready to fill in the voids of any rosters. Now, according to FootballScoop.com, heading up this unit is Bart Andrus. He has been a coach at all levels of football, from college to the NFL, CFL, UFL, and even NFL Europe. So maybe there's where that ties there with Oliver Luck. When Commissioner Oliver Luck was president of NFL Europe, he got to know Andrus well. He was head coach of the Amsterdam Admirals. Under his direction, they won the World Bowl in 2005. Former quarterback himself, he specializes as a QB's coach in the past and will focus with the XFL focus on this position. His hiring is a no-brainer. We've yet to see who else will be turned around part of his staff, but we'll find out soon. The report goes on to drop a couple interesting news tidbits about Team 9 during the season. According to sources, players on Team 9 will move to active rosters by week 6. The XFL plays a 10-week regular season with 2 playoff games, and then will be replaced by new players on Team 9. So these guys will move to active rosters by week 6, and will then be replaced by new players on Team 9. So there's going to be a big shuffle of players moving up, moving down. So just because you're on that 52 now doesn't mean that you might move down to Team 9 or maybe even get cut altogether and then bring in some guys who are part of Team 9 as well. So Andrus brings decades of experience. Of course, he's not going to win any games with Team 9, but it'll be really interesting to see who is going to be named to Team 9. We might not know that till next week, so stay with XFL News Hub for all that info. The Dragons signed former New Orleans Saints kicker Garrett Hartley. This was kind of a big surprise. Just before the announce of the Monday roster signings, Hartley made the announcement on his Twitter account. He's moving where he'll kick for the Seattle Dragons. He joins Nick Novak as one of the most experienced NFL kickers in the league, and his name cemented in history books of the New Orleans Saints. Hartley, 33 years old at this point, which is interesting. Played his college career at Oklahoma, where he was a Lou Groza finalist, given to the best college kicker in the nation. Hartley spent 7 years in the NFL. I remember his name. I think he might even be on my fantasy team at one point. And that's where everything boils down to. We'll get into fantasy. Hartley's NFL career saw him convert 85 field goals made for 104 attempts. With a career long of 55, his crowning achievement was 2010 Super Bowl championship with the New Orleans Saints, making 3 field goals over 40 yards. And it was the only kicker in NFL history to have made that many field goals in a Super Bowl. His last stint was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He also has a reality TV show on the Outdoors channel called Southern Chaos. So he unset another guy that made some hoopla about getting signed was Cole Tracy, and looks like Tracy is out of the XFL, but we don't know what's going on with Team 9 yet. But there you have it. Another name, notable name, joining the XFL, and Garrett Hartley. Yes, friends, the XFL does need field goal kickers. A report this morning from Football Zebras stated that XFL and head of officiating Dean Blandino is working towards creating a more diverse officiating staff. The lack of diversity among officials has been a subject of scrutiny across the amateur and professional ranks in North America. Quote, "We are trying to create more opportunities for female officials and minority officials. The XFL is going to be showcasing a showcase for officials all over the country to get more looks and potentially have the NFL look at them. So we're going to put together an inclusive staff." This is what Dean Blandino told Football Zebras in June. With all that, the XFL has released the names of the 6 women who will be officiating crews this season, in addition to Terry Valenti, a veteran NFL replay official who will be working in the same role in the XFL. Mara Chaka, a line judge, and Lachelle Nelson, a side judge. Robin DiLorenzo, a line judge. Amanda Sarah Cook, a center judge who most recently worked in the Big Ten. Sabrina Brunson, a field judge, and Tangelia Mitchell, head line judge. Sarah Thomas was the first NFL female official who debuted in the 2015 season. She remains the only on-field female officials in the NFL, in addition to Valenti, who worked in the NFL since 2018. The league brought in Yolanda Lewis to work in the replay room last in 2019. Even the Alliance of American Football put forth a concerted effort to diversify their officiating. Hopefully they paid them and didn't get them stuck with the bill either. All were part of Chaka, De Lorenzo, and Sarah Cook were a part of the officiating crew. Now the XFL is continuing that diversity. So XFL or AAF experience, NFL experience, and now we have a diverse staff of officials in the XFL, making it happen, being innovative and making it happen. That's what we like. So if you are headed to the Seattle Dragons home opener after they start the season with a loss to America's team, your DC Defenders. According to a source close to the NBC Sports Northwest, the Seattle Dragons are leading the pack among the 8 XFL franchises when it comes to ticket sales. The source also noted that the Dragons brass projects nearly 20,000 fans in attendance when the team kicks off its home first game for the first time February 15th as they take on the Tampa Bay Vipers at CenturyLink Field. They're going to be trying for their first win because America's team, the DC Defenders, will beat them. I think I already said that once. So it'll be interesting to see with the whole 12th man and Seattle fan base doing pretty good, that they, with Jim Zorn and now Brandon Silvers in the mix, Seattle is leading the way, expecting 20,000 fans. It'll be really interesting to see what kind of fans we get across the league the first week of the season. All right, we're going to take a commercial break and be back with some DC event info and some video, as well as the LA. And of course, we'll hear from Bob Stoops and your social media stuff too. We don't forget about you, and especially you jabronis in the chat room. We'll be back right after this.
What's up, XFL Army? If you're a fan of the XFL News Hub and you have a telephone, which I know all of you do because you're sitting there playing on your phones all the time, then why not download the XFL News Hub app? That's right, it's on iTunes. It's on Android. We have an Android version and an iPhone version of the XFL News Hub app. So what do you get? You get the latest news from XFL News Hub, the premier source of XFL news in the universe. Plus, you get push notifications when we have breaking news. You will be the first to know. You can leave a comment on some of the news right from your phone. Plus, you get this podcast on your phone as well. Remember, you can leave us reviews on the Google Play Store or iTunes. It links to other social media, our other social media accounts, and so much more. Be in the know. I know you're on your phones. People are on their phones all the time. They never get off their phones. So why not just download the XFL News Hub app on your Android or iPhone today? All you need to do is go to the Google Play Store or iTunes and just type in XFL News Hub. That's XFL News Hub. Download our app on your phone today.
Yeah, thank you for everybody who is downloading our app. It has been quite explosive, I should say. Downloading the apps, and just for you, the record, actually, I'm probably going to check, well, if I have time later today. We have an upgraded version for our Android app coming soon that fixes a lot of the bugs in there. So I'm excited to roll that out as well. So over the weekend, I had a chance to head over, took the family and a friend, my son's friend, and my daughter, because the other kids were all out. We headed down to Audi Field to hang out with the DC Defenders, and also got a chance to meet this guy, Connor Folk of XFL News Hub. He and I got the chance to hang out. Super great guy, super knowledgeable about the XFL. I'm telling you, he's a superstar waiting to happen in the XFL world. I'm super excited to get to hang out with him. We got to talk nerd out hardcore with the XFL stuff, what was going on in the XFL world, everything. It was a lot of fun to hang out with him. And hopefully, if things go well, I will definitely be there. Our special announcement of where we'll be at that event down in DC before the game, that we're going to be hanging out with your friends from XFL News Hub. You can come in before the game and hang out with us as we broadcast live from a location that we will announce on next week's show. And then we're going to blast it all over. You'll hear about it. So it was really cool to hang out with him, but it was also great to see all these DC Defenders fans out there as well. So if you head over to YouTube, we have, you're on YouTube. In our channel, we actually have a video that we put out there. So some footage that we got there. A lot of fun, waited in line. There was a bunch of people out there. I'd never been inside of Audi Field, so we all had a chance to check out our season tickets and where we're going to be sitting, and I'm super excited about that. That was pretty cool. Just going to my seat, I was like, oh, this is awesome. There was a great line of people. There was 2 lines outside. I was like, hey, okay, we got some fans here. In this footage online, which you can't see, but you could see inside of where the event was, and you can also see where my season tickets are, section 130, if you want to come and say hello. That's right. And I won't bite you. You come say, hey, Mark from XFL News Hub, what's up? I'll be like, hey, what's up, man? So that's where my season tickets are. Where's yours? I cannot wait. Just going to this event, I could not wait. We got a chance to hear from team president Eric Moses about the venue, how he thinks it's going to be like a fantastic venue. We also got a chance to meet all the players. They mingled in and out of the event. It was a lot of fun. So if you ever had a chance to check out that field or to be at that first game, you got to go try it, man. So it was a lot of fun. It was a great event. Check out the full video We have players on there, and we got me, and then we got a bunch of stuff more on that video. So you definitely want to check that out. But it was a great event. I appreciate it. Got to meet some of the personnel, got to meet some of the players, got to meet some fans too. Anytime you got I mean, what was so cool about this event was that they I thought they were just going to announce like 10 guys and that was going to be it. But they announced everybody. And let me tell you, having Connor Folk next to you as these guys are getting announced is pretty good because he's filling you in on exactly this, why he is a pro and he's a superstar happening already. Go follow him on Twitter. And it was so great. We had some surprise guys that were in there that weren't. One of the things Pep Hamilton said, he's like, yeah, this is the first time I met some of these guys. And we're both like, wait, what? And guys like, go to check out xflnewshub.com, Connor's post about it. But there's a couple wide receivers that we were like, we thought rumored to be cut, were picked up. The DC defenders are going to be stacked offensively. I'm telling you, that team is going to be, America's team is going to be a force to reckon with on offense. I'm super excited. And I just being there, I can't stress enough how fun it was, how everybody was accessible. Fans were getting autographs, getting pictures. The coaches were walking around. Kirk Avea was there, walking around, hanging out, meeting fans. People were signing stuff. A lot of fun. And so such a great event. And you just get more pumped up. And I left there. My kids left there. They were all fired up about the XFL season coming up. And it was just fun. And I'm so pumped. I can't wait to sit in my seat. Well, and I especially can't wait to hang out with you jabronis at an undisclosed location that we will announce next week, where we will talk pre-show of the XFL. We'll talk all sorts of stuff going on for an hour live on the YouTube. If you can't come hang out with us, that's too bad, but we'll be on YouTube. And then we're going to go to the game and just have fun. I'm just super excited. It's been an unbelievable road. I mean, we've been doing this for 2 years. We've had a website for 2 years. I was just looking at the stats when I first started XFL News Hub, and it was basically nothing. Like me and like robot skimmers or something. I mean, it was nothing. Anyway, that wasn't the only event that was going on. There was also an event in Los Angeles. So let's check that one out. They had a block party.
Stay ready. Stay ready. Ready to see this, man. Ready to see this. What it do? What it do? What it do? What it do? Good. Oh, what's up, man? How you doing? You know, fresh cut. Y'all seen me yesterday.
What you say, big dog? And then we got Dylan over here.
I'm gonna stand to the side.
Why you backing off? Why you backing off?
Yeah.
Big job, big job. I'm with the man with the plan. I'm with the man with the plan. I'm with the man with the plan. How you doing?
Happy birthday.
Thank you. How you doing today? I'm good. I'm surviving.
I'll get you a walkout.
All right, so that was video. Actually, that wasn't the video that I wanted, however, of the block party. Oh, because it's right. Let's see here. This was the video I wanted from the block party, a little edited version down. Now, if you're wondering, listening on the podcast, I apologize. Well, I don't apologize. You should be watching on YouTube. We'll have a report of this. This was the video I wanted. This is a little bit condensed version with some comments, but it's players walking in and a band playing there and fans all hanging out. So this was the video I wanted to show. So check it out. It's a lot shorter.
They ready. They ready.
I'm gonna stand to the side.
Why you backing up? Why you backing up?
Yeah.
Got shit to do.
Oh, hit the prison phone.
He's right in the middle.
My bad. Can you still see my dog roll?
We in the bike.
All right, Ben, it's all yours.
The president, Heather Parris, a round of applause. And she really is that passionate all the time. Thank you, Heather. Right now, I'd like to bring up a man that grew up right around the corner from me on Margaret and on Javelin and on Carson. You guys know Carson, you know those streets. The mayor of Carson, the one and only Albert Robles. Thank you, Lando. Let's give Beto a round of applause. And Heather has done a phenomenal job. Let's give her another round of applause. Where'd she go? You know, there are certain...
Good. Come on up here. Y'all come on up here. You got to forgive Nico for wearing all this green and all. That's unexcusable, but it's all good. The offensive line, they're not finished.
Good. How you doing? Looking forward to it? Yes. What position y'all play?
I'm playing running back.
Ooh, running back, huh? I did that when I was little. And receiving? Oh, yeah?
Oh, there you have it. So that was just something fun just to kind of see a behind-the-scenes look at what happened at the LA Wildcats. Fans are signing stuff. You got a chance to look at the crowd, see how big they were. A lot of fans turned out for the event. LA is a market that I'm a little concerned about just because LA is LA, and we've seen what happens with sports franchises in LA. Some do really well and some don't. It's kind of a fickle market. We'll see what happens there, but it seemed like fans came out and they had a good time. So the block party, again, between DC, there was other events happening too throughout the XFL. Stay tuned to XFL News Hub for those events and details. But we also have a chance to listen to Bob Stoops as the Dallas Renegades had a chance to practice on their new field, which is another one we thought, I was like, I don't know if they're going to have this field ready, but Bob Stoops had a chance to talk and answer some questions about what's going on with the Dallas Renegades and their new field.
What do you think of this place?
Globe Life Park looks awesome. You know, in my personal opinion, it looks better with a football field on it than a baseball field, but I'm sure that's not the consensus. But anyway, they got a new park across the street, so this works perfect for us to be out here. The field looks great, great turf. They're doing a great job setting the stadium up.
You got one of your former Iowa teammates, Chuck Long, also coaching in the league. How cool is that?
It's great. We've had a couple practices against each other. Not only Chuck Long, Jonathan Hayes, the head coach. We were all teammates together and very close friends, actually. Not just teammates, but we did a lot together. So, and those guys helped me win a national championship at OU as well. So it's been great. We've been able to bump into each other quite a bit, and those guys do a great job coaching. So it's been fun. I've kind of picked a rivalry with them, so that'll be fun as well.
Coach Fry was obviously a big presence in your life. Talk about the impact he had, and they had the event for him over the weekend in Denton. Yeah,
we were fortunate to catch up to so many Iowa people for my part, not only, and then of course everyone down here in Texas as well at Coach Fry's celebration. But Coach Fry was, my life's totally different if he doesn't come to Iowa. And not only myself, then he recruited my brother Mike and my brother Mark. So for the Stoops family, for my parents and us, Coach is all really special and great man, great leader, great coach, so we all loved him.
Knowing kind of the difference of those challenges, how excited are you for this kind of new chapter and to attack that challenge specifically?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Again, working with these guys are all, very mature, athletically, mentally. And, all their focus is on football. The reason they're out here is because for their love of football. And, so all of it together really works. It's going to be exciting, and we're going to have a fun team to watch. We're going to be exciting.
So there you have Bob Stoops talking about the connection between him and Jonathan Hayes, Chuck Long, who's now on board. We have, the stadium. So some insight what's going on there. But as you can tell from listening to that video, they are practicing on it and they are there, but it's still getting worked on. It's still getting a little construction going on there, as you can hear from behind the scenes. But great stuff put out by the XFL. We appreciate them allowing us to use that on the show to present it to you, my friends in the XFL, my XFL Army friends. We appreciate that. Now, on to the social media stuff. First up, which two teams do you think will be in the championship game in April? Now, chat room, wake up over there. Who do you think? Give me your two teams in the chat room. We'll check those out in a second. But let's head over to the social media stuff. We'll go to our Twitter. And that gets so many tweets. So I can't go through them all anymore. But we'll just stick with the question that we got. Dave Burnett says the Battlehawks versus the Renegades. No. Renegades, I'm leery about the Battlehawks because of their coaching situation. Jonathan Hayes is new. You lose your offensive coordinator, Jordan Ta'amu. He's young. Is that going to be good? But their wide receiving core, not really sure. Battlehawks, I would love to see Battlehawks just for St. Louis. For St. Louis, absolutely. That would be a fantastic thing for St. Louis, but I'm not sure yet. Alan Rigglesworth says Defenders versus the Wildcats. I think that might be right. I think it's Defenders against Renegades. That would be my pick. But I appreciate that, though. He's right about the Defenders, I'll tell you that. Leader of hashtag Ready to Strike Nation, Vipers guy, saying Vipers versus Roughnecks. Vipers has been my dark horse, though people aren't really picking them too much. But I'm thinking just because Mark Trestman, and I had a great conversation about the Vipers with Connor Falk of XFL News Hub during the DC event, and we'll have to save that for next when we go live at the DC Defenders event that we're going to announce next week. But it was some good stuff. I'm unsure. On to the Instagrams. Boy Snaps World, Defenders versus Dragons. I like that one. J-Rock says Battlehawks win it all, I guess. Well, let's go to the top here. Guardians or Defenders versus Wildcats or Renegades. I'm not sure about LA. Wavyhead.edd says Dallas. RTX_Knicks LA versus DC. Jacko Man says Seattle at St. Louis. America Guy 1776 got Dallas Renegades versus DC. That's what I'm thinking it is. I think that was a good one. What will be the name of the championship game, and what will be the name of the trophy given to the winning team? I think it should be the Vince McMahon Trophy. Definitely they will not do that. It takes a lot of guts to try to make a new football league, especially the last time he tried. It didn't work out so well. I hope the league works out well, that by 2035 there are 16 teams and the base salary is $165,000. Well, that's 15 years from now. Maybe. But I don't think it's going to be the Vince McMahon Trophy. I wonder what the He Hate Me Trophy? Tommy Maddox Trophy. We haven't seen anything about the vet XFL guys. Now, I'd asked Oliver Luck about honoring the guys from the past, but we haven't really heard anything about the past yet. I think they'll get to that. On to the Facebooks. Zach, top fan, says the teams that should be in the championship game are relatively easy to decide. The Battlehawks against either Wildcats or Renegades, with, of course, the Battlehawks coming out on top. That sounds like a good one. Other news about the Dragons home opener. Alphonse says St. Louis is slacking. Where are you, St. Louis? Are you letting Seattle beat you in ticket sales? All right. And on to our question. Let's see here. Oscar says, I barely see anything from the XFL. What? Jay Brock, the two best teams in the East will qualify to, okay. We know that. Michael, not familiar. Let's see. Rabez says Roughnecks in Dallas. Houston win, but they're in the same division. Justin would love to see coolest names. Logo doesn't really make. Christopher, Houston and Seattle, same division. Defenders, Wildcats, there we go. Battlehawks, Roughnecks, liking that one. Need more information. And Ben says Renegades versus the Vipers. Some interesting picks there from our friends on the Facebooks. Let's see what else we got here on the social medias. YouTube comments. Rick says, I know they'll do well. The XFL must stay around long enough to give everything a chance to come together. Please don't give up on the dream. Remember, the NFL wasn't an overnight sensation. Go Dallas Renegades. Todd says, awesome coverage. Thanks for sharing. Elijah says, bro, I love the coverage. Talk should take a page out of your book for production. I would kind of disagree with that. Got a chance to meet the XFL Chalk Talk guys. Got to talk XFL stuff with them. Nice bunch of guys there, too. Probably see them at events as well. But I like their production stuff. I don't know what you're talking about. I think it's good. I think mine's cheap. I'm like throwing it together at the last minute kind of guy. On to our emails. Jamal says, hey, Mark, I'm sure you already know this, but AEW got that sweet TV deal money in a short amount of time. Looking at the XFL, if they do well, could ABC, ESPN, and Fox give XFL something similar? What, Jamal? What a great point that is. I did not think about that. The fact that AEW really, when did they start? September? October? When did AEW start? And then a couple months later, yeah, if this thing knocks out of the park, there's a very possibility that they could be negotiating a new deal. I mean, where else is XFL going to go? NBC? With our friend Mike Florio that everybody hated on Twitter, and I loved it. Did I mention that? Which in theory could lead to pay increases for staff and players. I would yeah. I mean, if they sign some big $1 billion TV deal and they don't give the players raises, that's going to look bad. And I like Calvin Harris from AEW, a.k.a. the sunglasses guy. MJF is mine. I like MJF. I like all the guys. I love watching AEW. So much better. Jericho is such a great champion. Such a great pickup. Also, I was wondering if someone were to get fired from their job and they go find another job, how will they answer that question of why they left their previous place of employment? Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they would do that. Thanks for the email. Let's see, Ryan, fantasy football. Hey, have you found an online site that people can play fantasy football? We haven't been able to find one. I think I get a lot of these questions. Oh, let's see. Jonathan, are there any apps currently that you can use to manage your XFL fantasy, such as ESPN Fantasy? I think there's another one. Oh, no. All right, friends, let's talk. Let's get real for a second. This late in the game, I'm a little concerned that the XFL is not going to have fantasy football. There's a couple things to this. I understand that the roster just got put out. I mean, you have partners at NBC or ABC and CBS and basically ESPN and Fox. Yahoo said that they're not doing it this year. That's not good. There's still a chance for ESPN and Fox to do it. But we haven't heard anything. we have to draft. People need to organize and do their draft. Are they going to wait till the last minute? I mean, really, if they were going to do an XFL thing, I've reached out to the league and asked them to give me something. There are alternative non-traditional sites out there. I've looked at a couple of them, and I'm like, and I'm a programmer by day, software engineer, and I'm like, please. And that's a lot of work. I was like, well, I could write something, but then you have to do the whole draft thing. So I'm a little concerned. Somebody had put out there, Matthew Berry had a comment about XFL, and if he was in the know at ESPN doing it, the vibe was that he was thinking that they weren't going to do it. It wasn't worth it. So if ESPN's not going to do it, then that leaves Fox, which if I was Fox, I would jump all over it because when I think of fantasy sports, I think of CBS Sports, I think of ESPN, I think it's overrated, and I think of Yahoo. But I don't think of Fox in their fantasy sports. So Fox, they were the ones that were playing commercials. ESPN just played a XFL commercial recently. I think that the dark horse is Fox. I think Connor brought up Fox when we were talking about it. I didn't even think of Fox, but I'm a little concerned, my friends, that there's going to be no XFL fantasy football. Kevin, will the number 1 seed in both divisions host the first round of the playoffs? Absolutely. I think absolutely that would happen. Let's see who else. Vern Dawn says, how do they do in preseason? St. Louis has fantastic teams. It's awesome that they have another team. We don't really know. I mean, the scores are up there on XFL News Hub. They were they were just trial games, so don't worry about that. Let's see. We got a bunch of. I'm currently living in a house that doesn't watch sports. Where can I watch XFL games for free online? You're going to have to Hulu. You'd have to pay for Hulu. Get the Disney Plus because you get Disney Plus Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars nerd. I can't wait to go to Disney World. It's like in my dream scenario is to be at the championship game that's played hopefully in Tampa. I have no idea where it is. I would assume it's going to be New York or LA. I would assume it would be New York, but then I think they might want to play in a smaller stadium, so DC would be fantastic because then they could fill it. But they haven't announced that yet. But if it's going to New York or Tampa, it'd be awesome to go down, XFL championship game in Tampa, head up to Orlando, check out Star Wars, then go to the beach, and then probably never return to Maryland. And I'll just stay down there because I'm a beach guy. I love the water. But that's your best bet, my friend. Let's see. We got a ton of emails. Oh, David, question. Where and how to join a league for fantasy football? XFL. I know you're listening. Another one. John would like to know if it come out with a fantasy football app or possibly partnering with ESPN. Fantasy football question again. Let's see. Anybody else? XFL chick checking in. Says the championship will be between the Guardians and the Renegades. XFL chick checking in. No one brought up the Guardians. And somebody was saying, oh, why do you say it that way? Because I'm from New York. I grew up on Long Island. That's how they talk. We've been over this before. That's why I do say it that way. Let's see. What else? Man, we got a ton of messages this week. Are we going to have game scores and schedules added to this app? That's going to be tough doing the scores. I have to figure out how we're going to do that because it doesn't show up on the app. Because the app is a little different. But I would like to get that in the schedule on there. I was trying to do something with the schedule and it didn't work. David says, how to join league and get a team for draft. I think he's talking about fantasy. Again, you can see all of the messages we get. And Jose just left us a bunch of big thumbs ups about the app. So we appreciate that too. On to, let's check out our friends over in the chat room. Who do you guys got for the XFL championship game? Who's going to be in it? Vipers look interesting. Connor McCabe. Fabrizio says Guardians, Wildcats. Again, there's your another Guardians person. Connor says Vipers versus Defenders. Connor, that is the same division. Rangers Kings 669. Defenders versus Renegades. Renegades win because of Stoops. He also says DC lost their defensive coordinator, Jeff Fitzgerald. Yes, we will have an article about that. That's coming on XFL News Hub tonight. Yes, so that was another thing about the DC losing their defensive coordinator just before the season start. No mention of that at the at DC event over the weekend. Pastor Jack, I love this YouTube channel. I love you too, Pastor Jack. I love everybody that likes and subscribes and leaves us a comment on this show. I like you guys too. You guys are great. Rangers can ESPN debut their first actual XFL commercial. It was set to DMX. X going to give it to you. That's a good tune. It's a good, very good tune. R.W. Smith, shout out to Locust app for, oh, okay, I don't know what that is. There you go. So that's it for this show, my friends. I guess that's all we got here. Now, remember, next week's question of the week. That's what I wanted to get to. Next week's question of the week, my friends. Who will be the XFL MVP? Send it to me. Leave it in the comments. Shoot me an email, podcast@xflnewshub.com. We'll throw that question out on the Twitters, Facebook, Instagram during the week, next week, as it's the pre-show. And next week's show, I was like, man, what am I going to talk about? Oh, that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about, we're going to get a recap, a preview of all the games coming this week. So hopefully more things to come this week from the XFL. Hopefully fantasy football. But I'm not feeling it. Depth charts for your DFS needs. We got DFS writers out there, XFL or fantasy football writers, going to put out a bunch of content this week. So stay tuned for that as well. Those are things coming up. I don't think we have a finalist for our partners for, let me double check that. Partners for Fox yet. And also, remember, this is your last chance, my friends. Last chance. to win this lovely, I'm not used to talking for an hour straight. This lovely XFL football. That's right. This is your last chance. $125 value. We will send it to you. All you need to do is, it's very simple. Like this channel or leave us a review on iTunes. Then you'll be entered to win. Next week, we will announce the winner. We'll also announce the DC Defenders event with myself and Connor, a pregame live show, the first ever XFL 2.0 game, we should say. We will be there for that. Live on the YouTubes. Full details next week. It's a lock. It's happening, but you'll get the full details next week. And the question of the week, who will be the XFL MVP? We got that. And you guys, my friends. So how do you get in touch with the show? Email podcast@XFLNewsHub or call 888-430. Oh, we forgot a phone call. I was waiting for something. I was like, man, I totally forgot something. We got a phone call before we head out on the phone, the phone lines. Forgot.
Hey, this is Richard Humphrey, though known as Richard O'Farrell on Twitter. I'd like to congratulate all the guys who made the team. I think the ESPN commercial is on point with DMS. My only problem is Seattle Dragon picking Brian Silver as quarterback. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Not a fan of Silvers as the quarterback. I didn't see the commercial. I have to go check it out. Richard, check it in. Appreciate him. Super fan of the show. But yeah, that's a great point to end the show with is, hey, congratulations to all the guys that, maybe their dream was over. Maybe they played in the AAF. I'm just like hugging my football right here. Can't wait to give one of these away to one of you jabronis. But that's a great point. It's so nice for all these guys to get this opportunity to play in the XFL, for us to cover it. The opportunity that Vince McMahon did, he didn't just sit on his money and buy a fancy yacht. I'm sure he already has one, or a fancy jet. I'm sure he already has one. But put this money to use so that to help the world. I mean, so now we have football in the spring, your broadcast partners, the people that work the concessions, people that sell stuff, the companies that manufacture the merchandise, the jabronis who think they're sports people like me, being able to talk about XFL and talk about football in the spring league. I mean, brought my friends into it. They're all into it. So it was all because of Vince McMahon and for these players too. And congratulations to them getting the opportunity and making it through all this craziness, especially if they were AAF guys and then going through the XFL thing. And there's opportunities in those people that aren't even in the XFL that maybe didn't get it. There's always the spring league. Work the spring league, work your game, and you never know what's going to happen. It's opportunities for everybody in the XFL, and that's what makes it so special, and that's what makes this league so great. So, Richard, great point to end on the show. You can follow us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all XFL News Hub. That's XFL News Hub. Plus, you can download our apps. We're working on a new Google Play update to our app, which will be hotness. Remember to leave us a review. You can get a chance to win this lovely football. You can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, of course, YouTube, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. For show notes, xflnewshub.com/XFL-podcasts. And that's about it, my friends. So thanks for tuning in. Next week, winner, football, event, first game, previews next week of each game and coming in the XFL. Can you believe it, friends? It's here. Hey, thanks to all. Shout out to my friends on the chat for coming to hang out with us. That's it for me, folks. God bless you all. And I will mahalo to all my friends in Hawaii, and I will see you all later.